the chair of USCB Education Foundation. Dick Stewart is an entrepreneur and founder of 303 Associates, a real estate investment and development company based in Beaufort. Retired. Did you? Retired from successful careers in wireless and real estate, he now serves on the board of several civic and nonprofit organizations, including the University of South Carolina Beaufort Education Foundation. He has been recognized with an honorary doctorate from the University of South Carolina for his public service. We'll begin with Dick.
Thank you. Folks that you see prominently featured around walls contributed the funds to help make this possible. Hargate contributed funds to make that building over there possible. So we're in an institution that has public support, private support, and hopefully community support, which is why you're here. I will tell you that 20 years ago, the question was, can we recruit students? Can we recruit professors? Will people want to come? What will our programs be? All of those things were unknown. Today, as you will hear tonight, those things have been answered. And now we're ready to talk about the next 20 years. I can't tell you what a relief and what a joy it is to celebrate the accomplishments of the past 20 years and be a part of this team. A few years ago, as Dr. Panu suggested, the USCB Education Foundation was more of a concept rather than an operating entity. Through the leadership of Justin, who I'll be introducing and turning the mic over to in a minute, and some of the staff people, we can now say that organization is on its way, in charge of its own records, in charge of its own future, has a small but growing endowment, and if any of you would like to speak to opportunities about that separately, I'm happy to make myself available. Did I say that right, Justin? Okay.
QR code, no, it's not.
Okay. So in any event, a few years ago, a dialogue started between USCB, Beaufort County, and our state legislative delegation about how to get ready for the next 20 years. I'm delighted to say our state delegation has done a great job. They have secured $40 million plus for the contribution that the state will make towards Sandshark 2020. And when you see them, we hope Bill Kirkman will be able to join us. He has a commitment right now, but he's scheduled to come. When you see them or talk to them, thank them. Not because of what it does for USCB, but because what it does for that student that's going to have that opportunity to come to school here, for that professor that's going to play a role in the things you'll be hearing about, whether it's research, science, ecology, history, and the other things that are important to us in this community. And also say it to the business side of that, because USCB is a $25 million investment, but we're producing at USCB, according to what we think is an overly conservative estimate, $141 million of positive economic impact each year. That does not mean all of that money is going into Dr. Panu's budget, but it does mean that the return on that $25 million was very appealing. Most of us, if we can invest $25 and take back $141, we keep doing that. And so today, we are here to share with you, the public, and our supporters and interested parties, the plans for the next 20 years. But also to ask you to join with us, encourage Beaufort County to do it again. But unlike the first time when it was Beaufort County Council and Beaufort County Council alone with a TIF agreement, that was a bond, borrowed money, it was supposed to pay off over 30 years. It actually paid off over 9 years. It was that well received and the impact was that great. We're proposing a bond similar to that with a different kind of set of names. You will see this in the programs that we've offered to you, and that's called an MCIP. We're asking for $80 million in funding there. And if you think about what $25 million was worth 20 some odd years ago, by the time you factor in inflation, it's really not much more. But $40 million in participation by the state, and we're expecting Jasper County to participate in funding some of these projects as well. We can talk about that separately. So I want to tell you, you're sitting in a place that reeks of success. It's here, it's happening, it's a portion of our community that we really need. Unfortunately, there are a couple of things we need to change, and we're talking about those here. One is we need to have an arena and convocation center. Other ones are our athletes are playing on fields, some of them borrowed from the city of Hardeeville and distant from the campus. This isn't about academic athletics. This is all about the complete experience that a student has when they're on campus. And I can't think anybody that can give you a better feel for that, and how it impacted him as a young person, and how his young children are in a mode to consider the impact of this institution on their future, than my friend and chairman, Justin Rice. And before Justin comes up, please start. I want to tell you, I was asked if I would continue as vice chair of the board of this organization, and my immediate response was, I'm happy to be a vice chair of any organization that Justin Rice is chairing. I meant it then, and I mean it now.
As you know, there was talk the next speaker up. So, well, I was asked to kind of just share, or actually one thing I want to share with everyone is why did I choose to be on the board for the Education Foundation? And it might be surprising, but it's pretty self-serving. My wife and I, we have 3 young daughters. Yeah, I do accept prayers. 3 young daughters in the school system. I've got one in high school, one in middle school, and one in elementary school. And we want to keep them in the Low Country as long as we possibly can. And my thought is make this the best school we possibly can as well, with all the experiences that I remember going to the University of Nebraska. Well, as best we can. So speaking of that, I grew up in in Lincoln, Nebraska, college town. I remember going to the football games on campus, the basketball games on campus, baseball games on campus. Everything was on campus. That was really the heartbeat of the community. And that's what we're missing here, is that type of experience on campus for not just our student athletes, our student body, our student athletes, but also the community. That was the reason why I went to University of Nebraska. And unlike most of my friends who went to other schools, stayed there because I just truly loved that school. So that is what Sandshark 2020 is. It's to build a better university for the students and to build a better university for the community. So with that, I know the main reason everyone's here is to really see and hear about kind of our plans for this new facility in Bluffton. So without any more reservation, I'm going to introduce Mr. Dawson. He is with the LS3 Partners out of Savannah. He's over 30 years, as you can tell by the beard and the hair. He did just get off a boat sailing across the Atlantic this morning, so came to this event. So he does look a little bit like Mr. Castaway. So, but he's got 30 years of experience. He's got experience in the Southeast. He's got accolades from the city level, the state level, and national awards as well that he's won. So Neil, why don't you tell them what they came here to hear?
Well, thank you. I'm sorry I look a little haggard, but it was a long trip, I can tell you. So this is actually the perfect project. And we work with a lot of different universities, communities. But this is unique in that you're combining the desires of Beaufort and Jasper counties as well as USCB. And that's really what makes it work, because it's hard to make an arena, a viable project just to watch basketball, right? So what we're trying to do is build a facility that's very flexible, because there's really no venue like this between Savannah and Charleston. You probably know if you want to go see a good concert, you're probably getting in the car. We want to be able to have a facility that you can do concerts, that you can have trade shows, you can have large religious events, graduation, a lot of different kind of things. And that programming is based, yes, with USCB, but also with the community. And that really is what's going to make this project a success. And I think on that slideshow, you can see some of the different layouts that are available. I think another important thing is that it also can provide an emergency shelter for those that have difficulty when there's evacuations with hurricanes and all. So really, it covers all the bases in terms of its impact, not just on the university, but for the overall community. So I thought what I'd do is walk through this master plan a little bit, and we've worked on this a lot, and we've had big dreams, then we had them like bashed, and so this is the current dream, I'm pretty excited about it. And one of the things that, and I'll just start with, is number 4 up there is a pedestrian bridge, and we really felt like that's really the thing that ties this community together. Everybody's walking, jogging, golf carts, all of that. And what we want to do is create that kind of bridge that makes the community across 278 and this side of 278 that kind of blends all that together so there's easy access to get here. So anytime there's an event, it's not a big deal. You don't have to get in your car and park at a deck, although you can do that. You can just walk here if you want. And the service area, the number of people that live within walking distance of this facility is really astronomical. So we really think that that public connection is a critical part. So the main part of the project is that the big box number 1, which is the arena. And again, as you've seen some of the renderings and all, the idea is to create a facility that's right there on 278. There's no misunderstanding where the arena is. It's a vital part of the community. It's easy to get to, and it's quite visible. In the design, you'll see some images flash past there, and I think if you got one of the brochures, there's a little image on the front here. We tried to respect the overall architecture character of the area with brick. The campus has that sort of stability of the yellow brick with the accent metals. We want to maintain that kind of connection so that it feels part of the community. It feels like a worthwhile building, a substantial building that'll be here for everybody's kids, hopefully long into the future. And again, that arena is quite flexible. We've got some staging areas, marshalling areas. One of the things that John Hughes, my partner, and I worked on the Georgia Southern Arena, and ESPN shows up to these places like all the time, and so they don't bring one truck, they bring loads of semis. So we've got a marshalling area built into it. We've got a sense of arrival so that when you get there, there's an easy access to the concourse level. You can easily flow in and see what's going on at all times from all vantage points in the facility. It's really, I think, a right size for this community and will do us well. 3 and 2 are a little bit off balance sheet. That's a hotel and a parking deck. One of the things that we're contemplating in this master plan is soliciting a partner that will manage this facility. And that's still in early concept stages, but we think the idea of having an on-campus hotel that's adjacent to the arena, then if there's a big concert, you can stay there, you can have dinner, the parking's there. So we're going to solicit some partners to help us with that part of it. And then as you move south, we really envision kind of an athletic sports complex, which I'm really excited about. Number 5 is a baseball venue, 6 is softball, 8 is track and field, and then 7 are practice fields. So not only will this support USCB's really blossoming sports program, but it'll also support other events throughout the community. And can you imagine, I mean, just to be able to ride your golf cart over and watch college baseball in the evening, I mean, to me, that's a big thrill. I would love that. So that is all part of the overall plan, is that we develop this sort of sports complex on the eastern side of campus. And, it sort of gives it a sense of identity, and I think it will work well for the community to get engaged with that as well. There are a lot of other pieces I won't get into, but this piece to the south, there's a wetlands with a nature trail. There are also nature trails to the north, and we feel like connecting these, and maybe with signage, maybe it's with some site work improvements, but we really feel like we're going to make this a place where people want to come, walk, experience a baseball game, softball, and be part of the community as much as we can as part of your lives. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jody. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Very good. when talking about these kinds of initiatives, it's really important to always put the proper context in it. And I am happy to introduce a couple of my colleagues on our outstanding leadership team that without whose work we wouldn't have what we really are very proud of and able to talk greatly about. So I would love for you to please welcome two of my colleagues, Dr. Skipper, who is our Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, to talk to us a little bit about the accomplishments on the academic front with regard to USCB, because very often athletics is seen as something that is meaning if it's either athletics or it's academics. And I think you will get a flavor for the priorities that academics have had for us. And then my colleague, Quinn Monaghan, who is our athletic director, will step forward and talk to us about some of our accomplishments in athletics. Okay, if you would, please.
Thank you, Chancellor, and good afternoon. So my job today is to talk a little bit about academics and the amazing trajectory that we've had, and how the level and impact of academics at USCB has led us to this moment and merits the kind of master planning that we're contemplating today. The Chancellor mentioned that we are now, in the most recent U.S. News and World Report, a top 10 regional public college. The Chancellor and I, as leaders at a relatively young four-year degree granting institution, have historically been a little bit cynical about these rankings. But as you begin to ascend, now we find them to be the reputable and esteemed guardians of the order that we always thought that they were. We talk about academics, really the fundamental purpose of the university. We talk about two things. We talk about our students and we talk about our citizenry. And we want to measure our own success based on the success of our students and outcomes in our community. So I want to talk a little bit first about our regional focus and how our faculty have done amazing things, focusing their research and their service efforts on improving quality of life and problem solving in our region. Culturally, scientifically, all the different ways that you can imagine. So just to name some of the projects that are near and dear to all of our hearts, things that we think about all the time, that our faculty are engaged in, include environmental monitoring of our intracoastal waterways, developing a cybersecurity ecosystem, nursing program expansion, quality and recruitment of our region's teachers, ambassador training for our tourism workforce, food systems, infrastructure, sustainable farming, and so forth. And a big part of this is they've gotten really good in their expertise at pulling down grants from all the federal agencies that you can think of, NSF, NIH, Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, and so forth, but also from members of our community, Community Foundation of the Low Country, the South Carolina Arts Commission, Port Royal Sound Foundation, and so forth. But since 2020, faculty at USC Beaufort have quadrupled external research funding, which is remarkable. They've quadrupled it. Our faculty, on a per-student basis, bring in more grant research funding than many of our R2 research-designated universities. So it's a really special place that we're in as a university, and our faculty continue to bring in accolades like Carolina Trustees Professorship, the Governor's Award for Excellence in Scientific Research. We have, since 2016, had 11 Fulbright faculty members bringing down Fulbright. So it's a big deal. Now, to turn to our students just briefly, and even more importantly, our faculty have gotten really good at bringing their students along in almost all of these research projects. This is what makes our faculty remarkable, and it's what affords our students tremendous opportunities. Undergraduate research, internships, study abroad. All these we call experiential learning. They're all the types of opportunities that are going to get students prepared and that are going to galvanize them for a fast-changing technological world in which they live, where you have things like autonomous vehicles, 3D bioprinting, and so forth. Amongst our faculty, or amongst our students rather, just amongst our students, we've had 9 Newman Civic Fellows, 6 McNair Scholars, 5 Washington Semester Fellows in the past 10 years. Also, our students are engaged this summer while we're talking right now. In fact, Dr. McCardle and I were at Starbucks. We met there before we came here. And one of our professors, Dr. D'Antonio, was there with 2 students who want to go to med school, mentoring them. Many of our faculty engage in this type of activity all summer long, so it's pretty remarkable. But our students are also out in other states. They're at R1 research institutions performing undergraduate research. They're also at the NIH, at the Department of Energy, and so forth. It's been great watching them. It's been great watching our faculty engage in these types of things. And I just want to mention quickly, when our faculty apply to graduate and professional school, our faculty, or our students rather, our faculty are great mentors to them. And so our students, I want to share with you some of the places where our students have gone on to study in graduate or professional schools. And this is not just where they've applied and been accepted, but literally where they've gone. So Columbia University, Cornell, Duke, Dartmouth, Emory, Georgetown, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Michigan State, MUSC, NYU, Northeastern, Ohio State, University of South Carolina, University of Alabama, UNC Chapel Hill, Vanderbilt, and so on and so forth. And this is from USC Beaufort, right? From relatively small university, certainly a new university. So we've gotten plenty of institutional recognitions. The Chancellor mentioned the U.S. News and World Report. In 2023, our nursing program was named #1 in South Carolina in nurse.org. Our faculty have garnered enough Fulbrights to where we have twice been named a top Fulbright producing institution. In 2023, of all the institutions in our classification, we were awarded the International Education Innovation Award by the American Association of State Colleges and Universities. We were the university. So we've had a tremendous run, but I don't want to discount neither with the Chancellor or anybody else here. We have been set up with a tremendous foundation from the likes of Dr. Jane Upshaw, former Chancellor, and others who are here in the room that have really positioned us well for where we are right now. The evolution and the maturity of the institution in terms of impact, in terms of research, in terms of student success has absolutely been transcendent, and so much of that depends on what has happened here prior. So the academic profile of the university, in short, puts us on par academically with the kind of vision that's being proposed in today's presentation. Thank you.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to come to the microphone or take over the speaking, and it seems like every time, and I've asked over and over and over, please don't make me speak after Eric. He does such a great job, and we're fortunate to have Eric here. So I'll do my best to represent athletics well as Eric does our academics. Thank you. Good evening. It's great to see such support here tonight. It's my pleasure. As Dr. Panu mentioned, my name is Quinn Monahan, and I serve as Director of Athletics here at USCB, and I'm in my 14th year here at the university, and it's been a great ride. It's a pleasure to have you here tonight and share a little bit about the momentum behind USCB Athletics, a program that's not just growing but truly thriving. That progress is driven by our passion of our student athletes, the dedication of our coaches and our staff, and the unwavering support of the campus and our surrounding community. Let's talk about our success, not just in trophies and titles, but in all the ways that define a strong and rising program. Over the past year, USCB teams have made history. From our Peach Belt Conference championship in men's golf, to individual championships in both men's and women's golf, to postseason breakthroughs in basketball, softball, soccer, and track and field, We've proven that we can compete and contend at the highest NCAA Division II level. Individually, our student athletes have earned conference awards, academic awards and honors, and have even been selected for national student athlete leadership development opportunities, things that we're very excited and proud about. Just as impressive, our student athletes have consistently maintained an average GPA over the years of a 3.23. They're excelling not only on the field, but in the classroom, demonstrating that academic achievement is a core part of what it means to be a Sand Shark. In fact, based on our most recent NCAA reporting data, our student athletes graduate at a 19% higher rate than the USCB general student body. 19% rate higher than the general student body. We're very, very proud of that. Yeah, let's hear an applause. Hopefully, as many of you know, we are in the home stretch of our quest for full NCAA Division II membership. On July 10th, we will receive the call from the NCAA Membership Committee. We anticipate and certainly hope that we'll receive the news that we'll be awarded full NCAA Division II membership. We fully anticipate that, and we're excited about that and a reward for all the hard work that has been put into that. It would be a major milestone for our university and for every athlete, coach, supporter, friend who ever helped to get us here. These aren't just wins on the scoreboard. They reflect a culture rooted in excellence, accountability, and integrity. But success like this does not happen in a vacuum. It's built on community. USCB athletics is deeply rooted in the Lowcountry. Our teams don't just represent a university, they represent the region. You'll see it in our packed stands at a basketball game, youth clinics run by our coaches and youth clinics run by our coaches, and the support we feel from local businesses that proudly back the Sand Shark brand. Whether it's Beaufort, Bluffton, Hilton Head, or even Hardyville, we know that we're representing more than ourselves every time we step onto the field, the court, or the course. And our students give back. Our student athletes contribute hundreds of hours in service, volunteering with Special Olympics, mentoring at local schools, and supporting community events like the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport's Flybrary, which recently won a Peach Belt Conference Connecting Communities Award. And this because we believe in being more than athletes. We believe in being leaders and developing leaders. At the heart of our program is a simple mission to build champions and leaders in the classroom, in competition, and certainly in life. And that's what drives us. That's what makes being a Sand Shark truly something special. We're not just moving forward, we're building something that lasts. With your support, we're investing in facilities, expanding opportunities, and raising expectations. And we're doing it together with partners and community supporters like you who believe in what we're building. Because as the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. And as USCB athletics rises, it lifts our university, our students, and our entire community along with it. So thank you, whether you cheer from the stands, cheer from your internet, sponsor scholarship, or just simply wear the navy, sand, and intercoastal blue, you are part of our journey. And you are supporting your hometown team, the USCB Sand Sharks. USCB athletics is rising. And with your continued support, the community behind us, we honestly believe that the best is yet to come. So as always, go Sand Sharks and fins up.
It's often said that athletics is the front porch of a university, and we're very proud of our front porch, and we are excited about continued future of our front porch. But let it be known that the facility that we're talking about and what it means and its engagement and the student experience that it's going to provide is an intricate and part and parcel of the growth strategy for our institution and for our community, and we're very proud of that. 20 years ago, when our community engaged in the efforts to bring about the transition of USC Beaufort to a four-year degree granting institution, public meetings such as this, forums such as this, were an important ingredient of catalyzing the community, of bringing together the clear vision that was there, and we saw, in effect, the leadership of the county stepping forward, and now 20 years later we can look at the fruition of that vision and know that it was indeed a tremendously good investment. But as part of those public forum, they engaged also community leaders, because it's really important to hear how the university is engaged with the community. It's very important to understand the impact of the university on the community and the drive that the university can make with regard to the continued community and the various industries represented. So today, I would love for you to welcome some of our community leaders, and I will just briefly introduce a few here who are with us, and to just give us a little perspective from their particular industries. Jody Hayward is the Executive Director of the Port Royal Sound Foundation, where she leads effort to connect people to the unique ecology of the Port Royal Sound region through education, research, and environmental stewardship. Before joining the Port Royal Sound Foundation, Jody was co-founder of Riverview Charter School in Beaufort County. And we'll also hear from Joel Taylor, who is the CEO of Hilton Head Regional Healthcare for Novant Health. He previously served as the CEO for Coastal Carolina Hospital in Hardyville and president of Citizen Baptist Medical Center in Talladega, Alabama. Then we'll be rounding up with Dr. John Mercado Jr. And I need to make a little explanation for what I'm about to do about his title. He is Vice Chancellor Emeritus, and in the private school sector where he worked with the Episcopal Church, Vice Chancellor is actually the president of the institution. That's the title that's given because the bishop, I believe, is the chancellor. Okay, so please put that in context. He was Vice Chancellor Emeritus and Professor of History at Sewanee, the University of the South. He is a distinguished historian and respected national leader in higher education, and John is also President Emeritus of Middlebury College in Vermont, and he resides here in Beaufort. Let me please invite our leaders to take on a few minutes and talk with us. I don't know whether we have a microphone that we.
You come up there.
Okay, you can come up. Come on up. I think that it's working, so let's not make it.
Don't mess anything up, is that what you're telling me? Hey everybody, I'm Jody Hayward, Executive Director of the Port Royal Sound Foundation. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm going to start things off in a little fun thing. We're going to have a little pop quiz. So everybody don't get too nervous. Everyone loves a pop quiz, right, Deck?
Oh, no.
Yep, okay, so here we go. It's going to be easy. What body of water borders miles of shoreline in Jasper County saturates over 50% of Beaufort County and surrounds more than 60 of our sea islands. Come on. There you go. Very good. At the Port Royal Sound Foundation, our mission is to conserve the Port Royal Sound for the environmental, cultural, and economic well-being of our area. The Sound provides so much to this community. It's beautiful scenery, amazing wildlife, fishing, boating, art, culture, seafood history. Not to mention, it supports our local economy. Millions of people visit here each year to enjoy the Sound. So when the foundation started serving the Low Country more than a decade ago, we began working with USCB, and from day one, USCB has been a great partner, in particular the Department of Natural Sciences and the Marine Biology program. For instance, when we've needed great content for the exhibits at the Maritime Center, we've reached out to professors for help. Dr. Eric Monti and his team shared their research on dolphins and underwater sounds. Dr. Kim Ritchie helped us with exhibits on sharks of the Port Royal Sound. So using research conducted by USCB has been a great way to educate visitors to the Maritime Center about our unique coastal environment. And we've been able to support USCB researchers with funding for their projects. We have the mission to conserve the Sound, and USCB has the growing resources to conduct research in our watershed. This year, we've teamed up on some exciting new projects. Dr. Ty Petty's lab is a big part of our water quality monitoring program. They're providing sample testing and intern support, which is great for the program and a wonderful hands-on experience for the students. We're also working together on a new salt marsh research project. USCB students are teaming up with our staff to install equipment that will monitor the rise and fall of these critical ecosystems. And we're working on various surveys together, studying diamondback terrapins and rattlesnakes on Pritchard's Island. These projects play a huge role in helping us understand and protect the wildlife in this area. And it's a win-win for all involved, especially the Port Royal Sound. And one of my favorite parts of this partnership has been with working with USCB students. Over the years, we've created internships and job opportunities that give students hands-on experience in conservation work. In fact, 3 of these students have joined our team as naturalists. They've become an essential part of what we do, bringing their energy and knowledge to help us fulfill our mission. So you can see, we work very closely together. The Port Royal Sound Foundation is providing opportunities, experience, and funding, and USCB provides resources, knowledge, and enthusiastic students. But what I really love about this partnership is that we're working together for the good of the Port Royal Sound and giving USCB students the chance to become the next generation of conservation leaders. We're excited about the growth of USCB's marine biology program that had just 16 students in 2020, and in 2024 had grown to 116 students. That kind of growth means more research, more attention, and more resources directed at our watershed. Dr. Panu has called the Sand Shark 2020 project a generational investment in the Low Country, and he's absolutely right. Supporting USCB means we're not just investing in the university, it's an investment in our community. And from our perspective, we want USCB to continue to grow. We're working together to conserve the Sound, and when the Sound is healthy, our entire community benefits. I'm proud that the Port Royal Sound Foundation has been able to play a role in the growth of USCB, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for the university, its students, and the role they'll play in helping to conserve the Port Royal Sound. Thank you.
All right, so the rule is don't touch anything up here. Good evening, everybody. I'm Joel Taylor. I'm the market president for Novant Health's Hilton Head Market. And thank you, Dr. Panu, for the opportunity to speak. Look, USCB is a tremendous partner of ours. Congratulations, Eric and team, on the #1 ranking for the nursing school. I know that took immense work, and I am, and you all are the beneficiaries of that. because those students become our nurses who take care of our community, which is pretty remarkable. And congratulations, Quinn. We'll be thinking about you in a couple weeks for the July phone call. If you haven't been to a USCB athletic event, the atmosphere is truly electric. It's pretty awesome. I had the chance to go to a couple of basketball games, and with two young teenage boys, they're not young anymore, but they're still teenagers. It was just an awesome experience, so kudos all around. I would say this, I think USCB is an asset for our community. And in my mind, you invest in assets. And the return that we get as a community and as an employer is tremendous. USCB for us is a talent pipeline. Jody kind of referenced class numbers. For us, a lot of our interaction with USCB is in the nursing school. And rewind 7-8 years ago, we had 18 clinical rotations with USCB students. In 2024, we had 80. And so the growth is tremendous. And my hope is that it will only continue. Because for Novant Health, and we're not alone, there's a lot of healthcare industry that is coming to Bluffton and Beaufort County and Jasper County. Novant Health alone will be doubling the size of our healthcare workforce in the next 5 years. So we need USCB to continue to grow and invest in that. Just a few highlights from my vantage point. USCB's award-winning programs in nursing are an attraction to this area. And if I am successful, if our team is successful in recruiting those nurses, they stay here and they support our community, they support our facilities, and they support our patients, which is obviously what we're about as a healthcare provider. We support USCB through nursing school rotation, nursing student rotations in our ICU, in our ERs, in our ORs, operating rooms, women's services. Many USCB students complete their final semester here at USCB, start a nurse extern program, and become our nurses. And again, this is not unique to just the Novant Health facilities. It is true that USCB is a great partner across the healthcare spectrum, and that is remarkable and should be commended for the work that the nursing school does. It is a benefit to all of us. So those nurse externs become our employees and our nurses. And they start their careers with us, and they continue to develop and grow. And so as a 4-year nursing school program, they become our nursing leaders long-term. And that is advantageous to us. I would say this too. I referenced having 2 teenage boys. Facilities matter to prospective students, to parents. It makes an impact. It makes a difference. As you're touring a campus, that is noticed. And so I think that, from my vantage point, somewhat outside of the healthcare industry, is another reason to support this project and invest in this project locally. It's that student experience component that this will help make a difference for. The other plug I would have for this facility specifically is I moved here in 2016, in the fall of 2016. 3 weeks later, Hurricane Matthew came. And the governor at that time ordered a mandatory healthcare evacuation. I had the chance to spend the night in this building as a result, because this building is really that shelter today. But we cap our staff, the number of staff that we keep in town, because the size that we can occupy here, because we share it with all of the first responders, with Beaufort County EMS, with the Sheriff's Department. So I really hope to never spend the night in this building or any other building going forward, but having this as another asset and opportunity to rely on in those natural disasters and those hurricanes that maybe we'll avoid this year, will just be advantageous for everyone and the community, so that we can all respond, the sheriff's departments, the police officers, et cetera. And then lastly, I would just say this. I said it earlier, it's an investment, but the economic impact that USCB has, the jobs that it creates, it's hard to measure. I think that's what Dick said earlier. It's really hard to measure. I would just concur with that. I think having a thriving 4-year university in your community look at it across the nation, ensures a healthy community, a stable community, and a growing community. And so for me, and for Novant Health, that's why we are happy to be partners and supporters of this project today and going forward. They've been great partners, and we will be great partners to you all as well. So thank you.
Well, I'm delighted and honored to have been invited to participate in this forum. I am among the more recent come-years here in Beaufort County, though my wife and I have been spending time here since 2002. And it's owing largely to the influence of my friend Dick Stewart and my friend and fellow historian Larry Rowland, who's here this evening, that we have made this ultimately our permanent home. And I would begin simply by echoing much of what has already been said about the benefits that are derived from the presence of an academic institution in a community. I spent my entire career in academia and seen firsthand the effects that the presence of an academic institution can have in these communities, and they've been smaller communities, and they've been places where communities have been built and sustained and nurtured and deepened as a result of the programs that those academic institutions have provided. And because I'm an historian, I feel under some obligation to note that much of what you've heard this evening is consistent with the long and distinguished history of this institution. You may or may not know that Beaufort College, the trustees of Beaufort College, were chartered back on December 19th, 1795. And this was during a period of time not long after the American Revolution, when many communities were talking about the many benefits that come with having a college in their own hometowns. The place where I served for more than 30 years, Middlebury College in Vermont, had just such an impulse at almost the very same time and founded a college that has been a part of that community ever since. So it has been with Beaufort and the vision of the trustees of Beaufort College and what Beaufort College has done through its long history in this community as well. In their petition to the legislature, which granted the charter, as I say, in December of 1795, the trustees argued that the presence of a college in the town of Beaufort would do two things: promote the education of youth and be a valuable asset to the state. Now, you can substitute for state in that claim community. They're related. They're intimately related. And keep in mind that in 1795, only the College of Charleston existed in this state. University of South Carolina, then known as South Carolina College, wasn't chartered until 1801. So while it's not quite the case that would confirm my friend Dr. Rowland's contention that all American history begins in Beaufort County, it is almost the case that, in fact, the history of higher education in this state, and certainly dating from the early national period, comes from where else? Beaufort and Beaufort College. Now, Beaufort College has had a history of ups and downs, as you probably also know. But over the course of its history, it has produced some distinguished graduates, many of whom went on to study and to contribute, and perhaps most importantly, return to the state to serve in positions of considerable distinction. My favorite example, but far from the only one, is Robert W. Barnwell, a graduate of Beaufort College who went on to study at Harvard and was a member of the distinguished class of 1821. Well, Robert W. Barnwell went on to become the president of South Carolina College. He went on to do a great many more things as well in service to this community. But perhaps most interesting in terms of the preparation he received here to go on to study at that illustrious New England institution is that he graduated as the valedictorian of the Harvard class of 1821. Robert W. Barnwell, Beaufort, South Carolina, graduate of Beaufort College. Now that in and of itself is a pretty impressive statement. But guess who else was in his class? Ralph Waldo Emerson, who came in second. So there is a long and honored and historic tradition of higher education in this community and of what that process of higher education has produced. Now, over the years, Beaufort College and subsequently the University of South Carolina Beaufort has continued to be an important participant in the life of this community. It was, as it were, refounded in 1959, and as we know, in 2004 became a four-year institution. I was honored to have been asked to speak at the commencement the spring of the year in which that decision to become a four-year institution was made. That was a time of great celebration. And if you listen to what you've already heard this evening, and if you think about the long-term historic impact of this university in this community and in this state, you can come to understand that what we're talking about this evening is very much historically in the DNA of USC Beaufort, to serve students and to be an asset to the community. This isn't mission creep, this is mission fulfillment. And it is very appropriate and very timely for this university to be undertaking this ambitious project. I saw at Middlebury and I saw at Sewanee the impact that the expansion of facilities can have on campus morale, on attractiveness of the campus to students, and on the involvement of members of the community in the various programs that such facilities as an arena can provide. And those examples are in the materials that you have, and there's no need to restate them. But they're all true, and they're all genuine benefits of such a program as is proposed here. I would also say that from a long time spent in academia, investments and expenses are not synonymous. But in this case, we are talking about something that is genuinely, emphatically, an investment in the welfare of this community. And projects like this will build community, sustain community, and grow relationships that will last a lifetime. Now, though I'm an historian by training, I actually was an English major in college. And I'll close with what has always been one of my favorite quotes. Some of you may know it, William Wordsworth's The Prelude. And in that, he says, "What we have loved, others will love, and we may teach them how." I see someone you recognize that quote. What we have loved, others will love, and we may teach them how. Doesn't that, in poetic simplicity, describe what this project is all about? To make this university even more than it was at the time of its founding in 1795, for the education of youth and a valuable asset to the community.
I was sitting here sweating because we have Representative Herb Kurzman on the program, and I kept thinking, I haven't seen Bill. So I'm delighted you're here, okay? So just in time. When we began a lot of the effort dedicated to this initiative around 5 years ago or so, we did so on a premise that we would get the support this time around from both the state and from the county with regard to the main support to be able to get it going. And we met with the leadership of county and presented that, but we also understood that we had a major lift on the state side of that particular initiative. So we turned our focus talking with our legislative delegation to the state. And I cannot tell you enough of how proud we are to have a growing, strong legislative delegation that has been really advocating for us. And I'm proud to be able to introduce today Bill Herb-Kurzman, who has been representing the 118th District in South Carolina House of Representatives since 2002. He chairs the South Carolina House Labor, Commerce, and Industry Committee. He and his family reside here in Bluffton. But Bill, as a representative of our legislative delegation here, we couldn't have everybody in here, will give us a glimpse of the energy and the effort that went into garnering the kind of support that we now have presently accumulated, and perhaps even more. But also the energy that has not just gone into the facility request that is associated with the project we have described to you as Sandchalk 2020, but also helping us really lift our state appropriation so that we can do many of the other priorities that we have mentioned here with regard to USCB. So Representative Herb-Kurzman, if you would please talk to us.
Well, sorry about being late. It seems like every time I go on a college campus, I'm late for class. So, you know, it's amazing when you come by here, and I've come by to see Dr. Panu a lot, and, you know, you see the freshmen out there, the people that are just coming. Remember how exciting it was when you were a freshman out here? I mean, for me, being a freshman was the best 5 years of my life. But, you know, you see them out here, and they just comprehend what they see here, this great campus, what's happening, all the things that are happening, but they don't really understand that where it all came from. They will when they're done. You know, ironically enough, they will when they're done. But I just left late because I left the Bluffton Historical Foundation get together over at the Garvey House on the May River. And so, you know, if you think about it, it's apropos because there's so much history in USC Beaufort and now in Bluffton but we're creating more history as we're going. And to me, the Convocation Center is going to be a huge part of that. I mean, that was really, literally a dream that Dr. Panu and your folks had. Everybody had this dream to have this. He came to the legislative delegation, and fortunately, we were able to see exactly what he was talking about, and knew how critical it was for this area, and not just for the students, not just for the athletes, but for the ability to bring everybody in this community, you know, from Hilton Head all the way down to Hampton, all of us together, people from Savannah will be over, all of us together, not just for the sports activities, but if you think about the concerts and everything here, I mean, what are we missing here? We're fulfilling a huge need on what we're missing. And I can tell you, starting to work on this, and I don't know exactly how many, it changed every year, how many millions did we put in? How many millions did the state?
We're a little over 40 now.
A little over 40 million. It started out, I think, at 25 million, and with, you know, with costs.
You mean what you've accumulated for us?
Right.
But the price tag is higher.
Right.
We have the fields that are absolutely critical and so on.
That's right. Well, it sounds like a government project, doesn't it? So, you know, the ability to bring this community together in yet another thing with USCB is just phenomenal. I mean, Mayor Harry, you see this all the time. I mean, our folks are talking about this, and just the one thing that was lacking was that piece, the piece of the convocation, of the ability to put concerts in here and plays and sporting activities and all that, and it's just phenomenal. So I have to give a lot of credit to Dr. Pano and his staff and all of you people here. It was a combined effort, and Weston Newton was huge on making this turning this into a four-year college, and I know Weston would be here right now, but he's on his way back from Sea Island. But it was just a combined effort, and I guess it just always comes back to the fact that, we're all in this together, and if we can leave it a little bit better for the kids that are coming up here, they'll understand it, because they'll leave it a little bit better at some point for the kids that'll be after them too. So I know I'm running clean up here, so I'm just gonna leave it with that and just tell you all thank you for everything that you do. It's really an honor to be a part of this and a part of something good and a part of momentum that is going forward, and going forward fast too. Dick, you've seen that so many things that have happened here, and
Thank you.
it's just amazing, and it's amazing to work with this fine group of people here, and I just hope that we can keep this going and keep the momentum for USCB up, and thank you all for your part. Thanks.
20 years ago, you keep hearing that. It took the vision of not only my predecessor, not only leaders such as Dick, to really catalyze and bring together the community and push forward with this initiative, but more importantly, also the commitment on the part of Beaufort County Council to be able to come up with the funding that was necessary to help build the campus here. And to commemorate that, we have in this building a plaque that you will see in the main hall that has been there to recognize the impact and to recognize the vision of the county council then. And this is a council that has also been very supportive. So this morning, as part of the celebration for 20th anniversary here, we were able to recognize the continued support of the county with a plaque that we handed the council this morning. But also, we will do the same thing that we've done with the previous one. We'll have a second one that would be dedicated there in recognition to their effort and their support. As I indicated, this initiative is predicated on that partnership between both the state and the county. And we are proud of the accomplishments that so far have been accumulated, and we are now looking forward to seeing this vision come to fruition with the remainder of the funding. So I just want to point you to that plaque and recognize that there will be a second one being there in that recognition. Let's use this a moment for questions. I think we'll just open it up. I know that there are a number of you that really would love to have some more things by way of questions. And I don't know whether we need to handle this with a microphone that is circulating. Oh, we have a microphone there. Fantastic, thank you. So let's take a moment to be able to do that, and then we'll be able to take the next step. Welcome questions or comments. Thank you.
I have a pretty big mouth, so I don't think I need a microphone. What's the timeline for the projects?
Okay, Dick.
Thank you for your question. If any of you couldn't hear that, the question was, what's the timeline for the project? It's a multi-phase project. I'm pleased to say we have our wetland certificate in place. So assuming funding, and that's the remaining question, is funding which we hope to receive shortly, approval. The funding will first go to start on the athletic fields because it's quicker permitting. I would anticipate with the permitting process, assuming funding occurs this summer, that could happen in 18 months. I'd hoped it would be quicker, but the process is just that long. That construction, depending on how it's phased, will take 12 to 16 months. The development of the Arena Convocation Center requires engineering, requires HVAC, electrical. It's a complex building, and despite the fact we have a very experienced architecture firm in Neil and his group, those parties are all busy with other projects. So I'm estimating it'll take 18 to 24 months to get that ready to submit for permitting. That'll take a few weeks, hopefully not too long for that permit to be granted. And I think the construction time on that will last 12 to 24 months. There are various issues that you may have read about somewhere about tariffs or embargoes or other things like that, which keep some of us up a little later at night than we'd like to, but we're assuming all that's going to be managed in a business-like fashion. That's the best answer I can give you today. I hope that's suitable.
Yes, as a former student and athlete in Special Olympics, I think this is a great idea. It will bring us more involvement with us, and plus we have like games, scrimmage, like Special Olympics games during the season, and I could just imagine everybody cheering for us in this new arena. It'd be really awesome. So I'm definitely for this.
May I please ask our coaches to please stand, who are here, our coaches who are here.
I have a inside voice as well, so I was wondering if maybe Mr. Dawson could comment on some of the techniques that are being used to help to preserve the natural environment during this process. I'm especially concerned about the nature trail and the wetlands that are surrounding it, and how stormwater is going to be handled, because this is going to generate a lot of stormwater. So are we using green infrastructure? What are we using?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our firm spends a lot of time on developing resiliency, particularly in the coastal areas where half of our offices are along the coast of the South. And so, yeah, we do focus a lot on not only stormwater quantity, but quality, and how that water is treated before it's released back into the wetlands. That will certainly be part of it. And of course, we mentioned that the building will be used as an emergency shelter. So again, floodplain, those kind of considerations will be part of the design of the building. We incorporate in almost every project a lot of sustainability in terms of the materials that we select. Tend to be locally sourced. Okay, thanks. So locally sourced materials, we look for materials that are sustainable with high recyclability, low initial energy input into them. So, and I think there will be a component of ongoing sustainability in terms of probably some kind of solar component, water reuse components, possibly gray water components. So all of those are considerations that we like to go through with the owner and the public and really kind of lay out the range of things that can be done and come up with a plan that we feel like makes the most sense for the project and its budget, but also the most sense for the environment that we're trying to protect.
Hey, Doc, can I answer this too? As an answer? You don't mind? I don't know. Yeah. Can you hear me? I don't know if Doc had told you this, but we committed to bring money in for an environmental engineering program here. And what an opportunity for these kids to be part of this and to see, and coastal protection is really a huge part of what I think environmental engineering should be about. So what an opportunity, because this project will go on for a while, and just to be able to have hands-on with this is something that you can never get. So, okay, I need to do it again. But So anyhow, so I think the opportunity to have environmental engineering here as a program and having that as part of it, and I'm sure you all would be happy to have the students over there learning. So that's just a different aspect of it and a component I think we all need to be aware of.
Yeah.
But what about the site, the environment itself? What steps were taken to ensure that you are minimizing your impact to the environment?
The site that we've initially indicated is along 278 for a number of reasons. There is a man-made wetland there that it's honestly probably needs some maintenance and improvement. So I think part of what we see in that project is obviously improving the stormwater quality as we do it, but also improving the layout and the appearance of some of the lakes on campus. I think overall there is a bit of a wetlands or a water management issue on campus. It's fairly flat, as you all obviously know. And so I think part of this project will incorporate some probably campus-wide, or at least in this sports complex area of campus, some stormwater management techniques that will help us connect the ponds and improve the quality, water quality in this. I don't know if that answered your question. I'm not sure what you're getting at.
We've learned a lot about land development since the 1950s, and we've learned a lot about how we can preserve the environment and work with nature when we design a site rather than nuking nature and then putting the building in. And so I guess my question is, what steps were taken, especially in the back where we have the nature trail and the wetlands that drain into the south of the watershed? We have the New River nearby, we have the OCT River nearby. What kind of steps were taken to make sure that we don't damage these systems, or we minimize our damage to the systems while we're building this?
Is this microphone working? It sounds like this. Thank you for your question. And the assumption that we've already had the funding and the opportunity to make all of those decisions is one I would like to tell you is valid, but in fact, those issues are before us. But let me address the essence of what you're asking. My friend Jody is here because of Port Royal Sound commitment to the water quality here. What we've heard about with the marine biology and the water initiatives that are at USCB is critical. USCB has identified water as one of their issues. Now I want to go to the site-specific question. I have been referred to as a developer. I've never bought a tract of property and divided it up. What we've done is invested in redeveloping and reusing properties that have already gone to seed, if you would. What we see is an opportunity, and USCB can be a leader in this, to do a better job with stormwater than has historically been done by thinking bigger than the site. If you take a look at Crystal Lake, which is a facility outside Beaufort, and the Cypress Wetlands, which is a stormwater facility in Port Royal, both of those have a regional stormwater function. So instead of having small ponds like you'll see behind some stores or behind some factories or next to hospitals, a regional pond that can be 10 to 12 or larger acres that can be healthy and can recirculate allows those stormwaters to be a positive contributor to the Florida aquifer. That process is one that I hope as we go through this, we'll have an opportunity to identify where those places should go. That also goes into how we maintain those waters, the quality he was referring to earlier. If you see a small pond that looks very green, it's because whoever owns that pond is managing weed control with a copper-based solution. That copper-based solution, if it makes its way into the salt marsh, can kill oysters, shrimp, larval oysters, shrimp, and crabs in parts per billion. How do we make that waterway healthy, and what do we do to make that healthy? There are many techniques that are available to us, but this is not Myrtle Beach, this is not Charleston. This is the Port Royal Sound watershed, and these waterways around here are different. So developing those techniques, showing that we can do what has been done at Cypress Wetlands, at Crystal Lake, at other places throughout the county, and is going to depend upon the expertise developed at USCB. I am not in charge of this project, but I can absolutely tell you that everyone I've talked to is very committed to doing the best job we can with the waterways. It's not about doing the minimum that's required by regulations. By the same token, there are many things going on today that will be improved as this university gets traction and expertise in that area. the energy Jody talked about, the professors, the research, and the rest of this. This is a place where people who live in vulnerable areas of the world should come to and understand, A, how to handle stormwater, B, how to stand on coastal resiliency, so you put in living shorelines and other techniques that protect both the humans and the built environment on the shore, and you put in place what we refer to as real-life monitoring to see what's happening on the land and how it's affecting what's happening in the salt water, because all of those things are related, as you know. So I look forward to working with you on that stuff, and I look forward to when that's all done. But we got to get the funding, and we got to be able to start the process of doing that. So those decisions will be made in the time ahead, I hope.
First of all, I'd like to say this is an exciting project, and we look forward to its commencement whenever it gets complete. I'd like to revisit the timeline. You said, correct me if I'm wrong, 18 months to start the project, and then 12 to 16 months to begin building?
No.
Completed. So we're looking at the 18 months plus the 16 months.
Some of those overlap, and that's the best estimate I have sitting here today based on the regulatory and the other process we're expecting. I don't want to overpromise.
And when do we anticipate we're actually going to get started? So that 18-month timeline, when do we anticipate?
I would anticipate we would get started about 45 days after the final funding has been committed. The state has done their part, and we're very appreciative. Beaufort County is considering their part, and we met with them this morning. We hope they will act soon. We don't know. Jasper County has been involved in the development of this project and has been a great partner and supporter, and we're anticipating they'll make some decision sometime in the months ahead, which will impact how these things happen. So as most things in life seem to be, the availability of the funding is when the clock starts working and the money's not all here yet. So that's the challenge.
We're waiting for 100% of the funding before we start?
Yes. We didn't think an empty arena or a partially finished track would be particularly appealing, so we're looking at doing that. Is that for you, Quinn?
We would love a jumbotron, obviously. That, from a budget perspective, and I love what is it, the green monster? Love that idea. Certainly, you'll be on our planning committee. That's awesome. That's great.
One very important aspect of this conversation is not only what's benefiting university, which is really important, but also the community. As we've mentioned, this is potentially a venue for trade show, for concerts, for conferences, for tournaments, for emergency response, of which USCB is already a designated Southern Beaufort County Response Center. We do that already every year. So there are lots of additional benefits. As one of council people said today in passing, said if USCB didn't do this, we were going to find another way to do it. Okay, so we feel like this is timely and of tremendous benefit to everyone, but it's also obviously tremendous benefit to the university in its growth. Okay, I know you've been patient and we've been here for a good long time. We really want to thank you for being with us this evening. And I would like to invite you to sign up if you wish to get on the list for update for the Sand Shark 2020 project. And we'll have that. So while our meeting is officially adjourned, we encourage you to linger and perhaps ask questions that we didn't get a chance to cover. I want to thank you and really appreciate your incredible support. And together we will move forward and see some things come to pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you for making me